I'm John, and tonight I'm here with Larry Gowan. Larry is a 12-time Juno nominee, which is a Canadian Grammy. He's got 4 platinum records, 3 gold records. He was the highest scorer in minor atom hockey. He has 6 Canadian top 10 singles. That should be more. And tonight, he's performing here at the Mountain Winery as keyboardist and co-lead vocalist for his band Styx.
Exactly.
Thanks for being here.
My pleasure, Larry. John. Lovely to be here.
I'm really excited to have you here. I've been a big fan of yours for years and years.
Is that right?
Yes.
Can I check something on your T-shirt just to make sure?
Yes.
So you're from that land.
The Canada.
I've heard of the Canada. Have you heard of the Styx?
I've heard of the Styx.
Yeah, well, you're going to hear a lot of them tonight.
Fantastic.
Have you drunk most of this so far, or is there still a little bit left?
I stopped drinking in high school.
Oh,
so I'm not responsible
fantastic.
For that.
Okay, that's good. Well, that'll be for the crew after the show. Good.
When you came in, I saw you're drinking some coffee.
Yes.
And my first question was, do you drink coffee?
I'm caught. No, I do not. Not for the last 5 minutes. Oh.
Your own John wants answers.
Right.
To drink future coffee beverages.
Fantastic.
Tea, hot chocolate.
Well, thank you very kindly, John. I love that. I'll put this next to my Regis and Kelly mug. I collect one from every interview. Thank you.
Oh, great.
John wants answers.
So you seem to be on tour a lot. I check out the Styx World page and the tour page, and there's always a bunch of dates listed.
Right.
How much of the year are you on tour?
Well, John, my God, that coffee's light. We're on tour for at least half the year. With Styx, we play about 100 and, this year we're on schedule to do 104 shows, and I managed to squeeze in 7 Gowan solo shows as well this year. So yeah, that's... and
there's travel days in between.
And there's travel days in between. So we're on the road about, I'd say 200 out of the 365 or 66 days in the year, depending on the year.
And home base is still in Toronto?
Toronto, yeah. Home base is still in Toronto, and I love living there. I always have. Parents dragged me there against my will when I was just a little kid from Scotland, but I love Toronto. Scarborough is where I grew up, and I still love being there.
Stacy and I were in Toronto last summer.
Really?
And we did the Edge Walk on the CN Tower. Have you ever done the Edge Walk?
I have not done the Edge Walk. I want to do it on roller skates one day.
Roller skates?
Roller blades, actually.
I'm sure they won't let you do that.
I've never been on roller skates. But on roller blades, I think that would be quite, I bet you it was spectacular. How was it? Did you enjoy it?
It was pretty nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
But I felt pretty safe because they do all the precautions.
Yeah. Did you use a tether or did you decide not to?
Totally tethered up. The way they have it is even if you wanted to throw yourself off, you couldn't. So that's how safe it is.
Oh, well,
there's no way to hurt yourself.
That lets me out. Yeah.
So how long have you been in Styx now?
Oh, boy, let me see. Into my 14th year.
14 years?
Yes, yeah. Well into my 14th year. We have played over 1,500 shows around the world. We have played, Europe several times. We've played Japan. We've played exotic places like Canada a few times. And but we continue to tour the world and let people know what the Styx experience is all about.
Are you still considered the new guy?
I consider myself the new guy. Yeah, I think when you're in a band that's been around for a band that's into its 5th decade now, I don't see how you can not consider yourself the new guy if you've only been in it for a mere 14 years.
Right.
But this lineup of the band have played more shows than any other previous lineup have, combined. So that really says something about what we've built over the since I joined in 1999. That we've continued to build on the great success they had in the past, and really bring the live Styx experience to this insatiable demand to see the band wherever we can get to. Right.
How did it go about you joining Styx?
Well, it was kind of a Hollywood story set in Montreal. In Montreal, in 1997, they built the new Molson Center. I think it's called the Bell Center now, but it's where it was New Montreal Forum. And I had played the old Montreal Forum in 1985, but I didn't think I would get a chance to ever play the new one. And Donald K. Donald in Canada, people will know him as a legendary promoter in Quebec. He had us both booked on the same night. He had me at a place called the Théâtre Saint-Laurent, coincidentally enough, and he had them at the new Molson Center. And he said, Styx need an opener for that night,
Right.
you know? And he said, would you open that show? And right at that time, the reason he thought of me was he'd promoted lots of shows for me in the past, and the reason he thought putting myself together with Styx was that I just had a new live record come out a few weeks prior, and it was in the top 10 in
Au
Quebec.
Quebec?
Correct.
Yeah.
Gowan Au Quebec. And it had a couple of French songs on there, and he just thought that's kind of a nice combination because, you know, Styx first broke in Quebec. I first broke in Quebec. My first number one was in Quebec with A Criminal Mind. Their first number one was with Sweet Madame Blue in Quebec. So he saw a nice kind of simpatico billing there, and I played the show completely solo. I toured that year, most of that year, just completely myself on piano. So I was able to elicit a lot of response and chorus singing from the audience. And when the band heard that, you know, one by one, I would look side stage after Strange Animal, and I say, hey, there's Todd Zuckerman, or the Styx drummer. And then I looked over, hey, there's Chuck Panazzo. And then after the next song, I see, oh, there's Tommy Shaw. And eventually, you know, I saw there were more Styx members at the side stage with each successive song, and the audience was, you know, Montreal spectacular.
Right.
And at the end of the show, I came off, and it was one of those nights where everything was going right. So there were a multi-encore night, and it just went really, really well. And Tommy happened to remark, as I came out, he just said, I really enjoyed that. I hope we get a chance to work together in future. And so it's funny how the universe brings things around, because I went and watched their show, and I was really entertained by it. I thought, this band I'd never seen Styx. And I just thought, I made a curious comment that night to the people I was with. I said, I'd never be in a band because I'm a solo artist, but this is a band I could see myself fitting into. And I just said it out loud, but I'd never made such a comment like that before with another band. And 2 years later, they asked me to join.
Well,
Are you still awake? Okay.
so I grew up in Canada, as you can tell by my shirt.
Well, you're not allowed to wear a shirt like that unless you grew up there.
Exactly.
It's against the law.
So I'm familiar with your solo stardom
That's
throughout
excellent.
Canada. And a lot of people here, we're here in California,
Yes.
don't know anything about your solo career.
How dare they? There might be good reason for that. The records were not released in the United States, and so
Right.
that's why people here, for the most part, are unfamiliar with it. But they're more familiar with it now since I joined Styx.
So I want to review the superstardom that you are in Canada.
Oh, please, take your time.
So in '85, it was the big smash hit record, Strange Animal.
Okay,
And
I remember that.
4 hit singles, right?
Yes.
Amazing videos. Like to this day, people are still talking about these videos you had
That's good.
for these songs. And you were Juno nominated
Yep.
for these videos too. So the record was recorded in England
Yes.
at John Lennon's house.
Correct.
And so I'm wondering, how did you manage to swing that to that point?
At the time when we recorded it, 1984, it was Ringo Starr's house.
Right.
And Ringo lived there during the making of the album. And when I made a little documentary on it, on this album I put out called Return of the Strange Animal
Right,
in
the
2010.
Tiltonhurst Park.
Tiltonhurst Park. Did a little song
Documentary,
about the whole
yeah.
experience. And so if people want to look for that website, it's gowanstrangeanimal.com, and you can see the little story that's there. But in 1984, the producer I wound up working with was a guy named David Tickle, and he was running the studio for Ringo for the previous few years. And Ringo had just moved back, I believe, to England just recently before we started making the record. I could be mistaken about that, but I know that the studio was getting back together, and David Tickle was the perfect guy to do that because he was so familiar with the place, and great engineer and producer, and he played my demos for the Peter Gabriel band. You know, Jerry Marotta, Tony Levin, and David Rhodes. Also another guitar player named Chris Jarrett. And they liked the demos and said, yeah, we'll make a record with this guy. And so the great coincidence was February the 7th, 1984, that I actually walked in the house, and Ringo was there, greeted us at the door. And that's a pretty intense moment in your life when you actually come face to face with an actual Beatle, especially in his house. And exactly 20 years to the day that the Beatles came to America. So I thought, God, there's great,
paying them back.
There's some great vibes going on here, you know. And I remember, you know, with the band I had in the 70s, we always played Imagine, the song Imagine, and that's where John recorded Imagine, and that's where he did the video for Imagine.
I remember
on
the
white
big piano opening up the drapes.
Yeah. But 3 years after we made the album, I saw the movie Imagine that I believe Yoko produced. Showed them recording the whole record at Tittenhurst Park, and I saw, oh my God, it's using the same microphones, the same instruments are around. It's virtually looks like the identical studio. I think they were 8-track then, and we were 16-track, but just minor changes like that had occurred, and it's one of the most astounding experiences I could ever have had. And when I hear A Criminal Mind on the radio, I hear, wow, the piano sounds like the piano that's in Imagine, and just the ambience of the studio just ties in perfectly.
Could you tell when you're making this record, it was your second record,
Yes.
Could you tell something was different and it was going to be as huge as it was?
I could tell that it was different. There was a sudden feeling of confidence that this was a really strong musical statement, and it sounded current. You know what I mean? When we'd listen to other stuff that was on the radio or in England or wherever it was around the world, that music seemed to stand up and felt really. It just felt really good every day in the studio. You'd come in, you'd put the tracks up, and be like, God, this feels really strong. Of course, you still have that little bit of. Well, more than a little bit. You've got the big unknown as to whether people are going to relate to this or not, you know. But there was, I have to say, there was a strong confidence when I came back with the record, feeling like, you know, if this is the last record I ever make, I made a good one,
right.
You know. And it didn't totally shock me when it took off as it did. What shocked me was that after it got to like #1 in several charts across the country in Canada, that it didn't get that international release. That was more of the shock and a disappointment to some degree, but it's the way the music industry was structured back then. It's still a great record, and to this day I get letters now from, or you know, Facebook notes, whatever they happen to be, from people in Sweden or Australia or Hong Kong or wherever they discover the record.
So your next album, 87's Great Dirty World.
Yes.
Now this came out right when I started getting into music.
Oh.
I was coming of age.
Okay.
And so I distinctly remember the first time I heard this song. It was on Video Hits with Sam Taylor on the CBC.
Yeah.
Remember that show?
Perfectly. I was on that show a few times.
Right.
Yeah.
So I watched the video. I saw it there, and I was really struck by it. I mean, the video itself is beautiful.
Was it Moonlight Desires?
Moonlight Desires.
Yeah.
Sorry. You're there on the pyramids, you know, the big full moon, you know, the howling, the owls.
Yeah.
And the song was, you know, something really different and something really catchy. Like, you know, that piano opening is just amazing. And so I was amazed at what I saw.
Great.
And so I didn't really know of you before that. So over the dinner table.
Because you're just a kid.
Just a kid.
Yeah.
Over the dinner table, I couldn't get it out of my head. So I'm asking my sister, who's a little bit older. I'm like, have you heard of this Gowan guy? He had this song, you know, on the video show. Have you heard of him? And she said, oh, Gowan, yeah, I remember him. He had, you know, the Strange Animal record and these songs.
Way back 2 years ago, yeah.
Right. So Moonlight Desires, the big hit. Now you got a SOCAN award for that. Was it like the...
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, I got a SOCAN award for that for if a song has achieved 100,000 radio plays. In Canada, they give you, it's achieved what they call classic status. In America, it's 1 million. In Canada, it's 1/10 the population. So
is that your biggest single to date, would you say?
I think it is, actually. I think it's the...
for some definition of biggest?
For some definition of biggest. The biggest single, I suppose, would still be A Criminal Mind because it became a gold single. That's a very rare thing, that a single itself becomes gold off a record that was double platinum. Well, I actually hit triple platinum. But... Moonlight Desires was the most played song on the widest variety of formats of radio as well, and it's still played a great deal. And it's the 25th anniversary of that song and that video this year, in 2012. So I did love the fact that we made that video on the Mayan pyramids, and here we are 25 years later, and the Mayans have predicted that the world will probably end right after this
December, right?
John Vink Wants Answers show. John wants answers. You should ask the Mayans a few questions.
So we don't have time to go over your entire career.
I just did.
Oh, no, there's like a string of gold albums and you put out after that.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
every album had like 2, 3, or 4 hit singles.
Yeah.
You
You are a good Canadian boy.
I want to talk about the first time we met.
Oh.
I remember more than you do, probably.
Oh, please remind me. I hope it's really embarrassing. I hope I was like really rude to you or something.
No.
Yeah.
It was August '93. So I'm in Toronto. I'm going to college.
Yep.
And
August,
a colleague
got
and me go to the gasworks. And it's a weekday night. It's dead. No one's there. And there's a woman on stage singing Madonna song.
Okay.
The gasworks.
Yeah.
And there's a grunge guitar player playing, wishing he wasn't playing a Madonna song.
Okay.
And then she does a shout out. It goes, "Oh, my good friend Larry Gowan's here."
Really?
Really? And so I'm like at some other table, and I'm really excited because, small town boy in a big city, Larry Gowan's in the bar. And so I come up to you and say, "Hey, can I get an autograph?" And believe it or not, here you go.
Go away and don't bug me. Corey Hart? What a terrible thing to write on there. Okay, to John, best of life, the criminal mind.
Oh, Gowan.
Not bad. Well, that's...
So I dug that up, and
Boy.
I even stamped the date on the back. It was August 21st, 1993. We could have gotten singing fingers with fries for $6.
Well, I was a vegetarian, so you can have mine. Thank you for reminding me of that, because the Gasworks was a very pivotal place in my life, actually. There's a little bit more to my life story. I think I probably went in there. Do you remember what the name of the band was that we're playing?
I don't.
I probably went in that night because they closed the Gasworks for good. can't remember exactly what year it was, but it was in the late 90s. And I was very sad to see it go, because it was a club that I played in the 70s with my band back then, Rhinegold. We played many, many times. 15 weeks in total was what I counted for the Gasworks. And it's a legendary club because Mike Myers, also a Toronto boy,
Right.
kind of immortalized it in Wayne's World. He didn't shoot the actual Gasworks, but the club that he had set in Chicago, he called it the Gasworks, and everyone in Toronto knew it was like, we get it.
Yeah.
That's good. So we met in the Gasworks. That's you see, I feel a good vibe with you.
I'm here to pay you back.
Oh, I'm going to get it. Oh,
I brought you an
let me
autograph
guess.
photo.
Oh, please. Oh, my God. Look
This
at
one has my
that.
picture on it.
That looks so much like you. This is like 3D, right? 3D black and white. It's a new thing. Do that look again? It's not actually you, is it?
It's me.
No kidding. Okay, good.
So now I want to tell you about the first time I
Yeah.
saw you perform live.
Okay.
It was Mix 99.9 had a birthday festival. I think they do it every year at Kew Gardens.
Oh, of course. I know. Yeah.
And huge lineup,
Yes.
right? It was...
So I remember that day. You got a picture from it. I just saw that.
It was
Do you know how
Alan
many
Fruit.
people were there that day?
I don't know.
They estimated the crowd. No, they estimated that crowd at 100,000 people.
You can't fit 100,000 in that park.
No, of course not. But did you notice that Queen Street was completely blocked, and even the streets that run up from Queen?
Oh.
I know this because I'm actually recording. I can't give the exact address, but there's a studio in that vicinity, at which I'm recording a new Gowan solo record currently. Right now, as we're doing this interview.
It's being recorded without you.
Yeah, my clone's back there working on it. Yeah.
So, great lineup. Alana Miles.
Yep.
Alan Frew of Glass Tiger.
Yes.
Kim Mitchell, I think, was playing.
I believe so.
And
Tom
you-
Cochran, or was it Bare Naked Ladies?
Bare Naked Ladies headlined,
Bare Naked Ladies, yes.
and you played solo.
The reason I remember that is because Bare Naked Ladies would spoof Gowan songs in between their own
know.
songs.
I was just going to say that.
They did Awake the Giant, I think.
You blew the crowd away, right? And I was just with my friend.
They all went
Dwayne.
home. Yeah.
Dwayne and I, we know my friend, we saw you, we said, hey, that guy is great.
Okay.
Bare Naked Ladies came on,
Yeah.
started doing covers of your songs
That's right. I remember
during the
that.
show.
Yeah.
And so we walked away saying, Bare Naked Ladies were the headlining act, but you stole
I
the
like
show.
that part. I was disappointed in the fact that they were not actually bare naked. Sorry. All right. Never mind.
It was
stepped on my own punchline.
It was before
Okay.
they became, big in the States. They're big in Canada, not yet big in the States.
That's right, but they were a committed band that.
And you're also
deserved
playing
their success.
acoustic guitar by yourself. With,
yes,
less clothing.
indeed.
You took off your.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look here. Let's have a look at John's memories. Wow, that's pretty good. Look at the size of your picture compared to my.
That was in the old days.
Toronto
You had to
Beaches.
take a film camera and walk yourself up. I remember at that show. Now during Styx shows,
Put this over here, John.
you play
Your mug
a
next
bit
to your
of
mug.
Beethoven.
Did
right?
I?
You do some pathetic when you play it with Styx.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember that day you played some Beethoven
Sonata
too.
Pathétique, right?
I think a different one where you like slammed your forearm on the keys and
No,
stuff.
I know what I played there. Oh, there's even a picture of you and I here, right here.
We're getting to that. Yeah.
Man, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
ruining
ruining the interview. I'm jumping ahead, folks. What did I play? No, that's not by Beethoven. That's a piece called "The King's Chanticleer Rag." It's one of my favorite ragtime pieces. It was introduced to me by a fellow by the name of John Darch, whose cousin, ragtime Bob Darch, he was one of the few people in the world who played the King's Chanticleer Rag. And when I was 19, I remember I met him, John, and he said, "You got to learn how to play the King's Chanticleer Rag. There's only like 4 or 5 piano players in the world that play it."
Right.
So he gave me an old record by a piano player named Johnny Maddox. I believe it was a '78, and I just slowed it down and learned it, by ear, and then that became kind of a good showpiece to play. I played it with Styx a number of times too.
Great. So Dwayne and I,
Okay.
we're roommates in Toronto. We
Okay.
would see you as often as we possibly could perform live.
Okay.
So
What year are we in now?
We're like in the 94 to 96 range.
Okay, good.
So we go to Lulu's in Kitchener. You
Yeah,
played there a few
I know it
times.
very well.
We can't forget the opening
gone
band,
now.
Big Banana. That was, I don't know if you remember them or not. And so one time we went to Wayne Gretzky's bar. You
Yeah.
were doing the end
New
of
Year's
the year.
Eve.
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve, Wayne Gretzky's, and that was I very much remember. A great band I had then.
The whole
Are you gonna
band.
show
And
me a
there's
picture?
you with them.
There's Jeff. It was Jeff Jones on bass, Kenny Greer from
Kenny Greer, yeah.
both those guys from Red Rider, and it was Jerry Marotta from Peter Gabriel's band and played on all my Gowan records, and Paul McCartney and Stevie Nicks. He was on drums that night.
Here's you later on, ringing in the year when it finally turned midnight.
Man, oh man, my first glass of champagne. That's
And then
funny.
here's us at the coat check. And here we are posing for a photo, and this poor lady's trying to get out of the way.
I know who this lady is. Funny enough.
Really? Oh.
Yep.
I still wear this shirt.
Good.
And it's from 1995.
Excellent. Yeah, good. Recycle them.
You still have that shirt, that jacket?
I do have that jacket. Yes.
Last time I saw you in Toronto before I moved away,
Yeah.
I was at Tears for Fears concert, Dwayne and I again. Tears for
Yes.
Fears. I turn around, 3
Sitting
rows
there.
back, there you are.
Danforth Music Hall, and it was. I'm going to correct you a little bit on that one. It wasn't. It was Roland Orzabal's concert.
He was under the name Tears for Fears, but
Well,
Roland Orzabal. Oh,
Roland-
did he
Roland
go
Or-
Roland Orzabal at that point?
Yeah, Roland. He wrote the Tears for Fears songs, and I think some of them were co-written with Kurt Smith. That was a great show. I opened for Tears for Fears on an entire tour of America in 1985. That's why. That's the first time I'd seen them since then. I'd seen Roland, and that was when the record Strange Animal was doing so well in Canada, and it just seemed inevitable that they were going to release it in the States. And Tears for Fears knew of the success that it had in Canada, and their record was Shout was #1. And it just seemed like an inevitable thing that it was going to kick over. But if had it done so, you and I wouldn't be sitting here today. You'd probably be sitting over there. Yeah.
So at that show,
Life would be so different.
as we're leaving,
Yeah.
I cornered you.
Yeah.
And I told you, you inspired me to buy my own keyboard.
Good.
And so I was learning to play it.
Good.
And I asked you if I could send you a demo tape one day.
What did I say?
You said, sure, but you probably should send it to a record company instead.
Yeah.
Now, it's been
That-
16 years.
Okay.
But
Here it is, folks.
my first single just came out.
Oh, wow. Smelter.
Now,
The one that Smelter Delter.
actually, the line is,
That's really good.
Smelter, I don't even know her. That's the line of the song. But I did not play keyboards actually on this song.
Smelter Skelter. No. I like it. I'm sorry, I'm making fun of your song title.
No, that's fine. Once you
I
hear
like it.
You'll
I also like that you went with the Ronnie James Dio, or are you actually missing those 2 fingers?
Am I doing it right?
No,
I was
you're
talking
fine.
to you.
You're actually doing it backwards, which is, I guess, the Canadian way.
Oh, okay.
and sorry, it's the first time I've seen this. It's good. You don't mind me making it?
No.
Okay,
It's
because this is what I like.
rock-worthy.
If you, just in case, if you ever do get this single, and by the way, you're about to sell millions now. You know that.
I've given
because
out
of what's
100,
happened
so
here.
now I'm gonna.
So, first of all, you look great, right? But just so you don't think this is just nothing but molten lava and metal, I noticed on the back you've got a really classy chandelier. And that's what really classes it up. That's what puts the smell back in Smelter.
My
Great.
really good friend Scott D. Davis
I like it.
played piano on this. He's a really amazing pianist. You should
Yeah.
look him up. He's
Yeah.
on iTunes.
Okay.
So
I'm going to listen to this now, John. I really am. In
Oh.
fact, you can play this as our
I'll have some
going out
quotes-
music.
I have some quotes for you from you.
Good.
I
Well,
can use to sell
yeah.
it.
This should better than Styx. Wow, you're going to run that one over and over.
My next question was, hey, you opened for Tears for Fears, and then we've been through this.
I've covered way too much.
So I moved away from Canada in '96.
You did not.
I did too.
Okay.
So I still followed your career on the internet. I learned
On the internet?
on the internet. Heard you join
Excellent.
Styx in '99, and I was really happy because now here's my favorite Canadian artist who no one in my country here
Yeah.
knew about. I thought, this is great. You're going to get a worldwide audience. Everyone's going to know who you are.
Finally.
And so one day I'm on the internet and I'm looking up Styx World or something.
Yep.
Like, oh, when are they coming to my town? Well, they're coming to San Francisco. They're coming tonight.
Wow.
They might have already gone
Started
on
the
stage.
show, yeah.
So I get my friend,
Yep.
and we hop in the car
Yep.
without a ticket, drive up to the city, 45-minute drive, find some scalper on the street, throw him some money,
Yeah, just throw it.
like half price.
Yeah, sure.
We get in there,
Yeah.
and I think you're partway through like Too Much Time on My Hands, which is a song I had never heard of before. And I
Very
walk in,
coincidental that you should come in on that song.
and I'm
yes.
like, wow, this song's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't that familiar with Styx.
Yeah, how would you know it? I think it only sold about 40 million copies.
And so I'm waiting outside for you,
Yeah.
and you.
What did I do this time?
Tommy Shaw comes out,
Yeah.
you come out, and I yell your name, Gowan.
Right. I
Which
punched you
think-
in the face.
I think to myself, you never hear that, because you're in the States and no one knows who you are.
Okay.
So the fact that I yelled Gowan really caught your ear.
Oh, yeah.
And you were nice enough, and so I got another autograph from you.
Let's see this one.
To John, Larry Gowan, Styx 99.
Man, oh man.
My ticket stubs on the other side, we can see it was November
Okay,
99.
let's have a look. Let's have a look at the date. The exact date was November 14. JY's birthday. I remember this because it was at the Fillmore. That was JY's birthday that night. It was the first time I'd ever played the Fillmore, which is, where Hendrix and all kinds
Right.
of great acts played, obviously. And that was a big night for me, actually. So I'm glad that you kept that as a great memento. You should put that, maybe put it online. Or something. By the way, you know what could really help my career internationally? If you put this on the internet.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or sorry, you call it internets. That's the Canadian way, because we love nets. Big hockey fans.
So at that
Yeah.
point, when you first joined Styx, I believe it was temporary, like to do a tour.
Well,
Is that right?
yeah, okay. I suppose it was looked upon, it was a means for them to tour because they were stuck. They couldn't tour that year and they had a brand new record. And at first we looked at it like they had 33 shows booked, and I would come and join them for that run. But after the third night, I remember it was going over really well, and we had a quick little meeting, and they said, we want you to stay in the band permanently if you'll do so.
Then you did so.
I've been in the band for this long, so I'm obviously still enjoying it very much.
So when we talked,
Yes.
I was asking you about solo Gowan work.
Yes.
And you were telling me you had just started, I don't know if started or finished
That's right, I
a
sent you that
record.
message, yep.
Right when
Halfway.
the Styx thing came along.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we're jumping back. Yes, okay.
So you put that on the shelf.
I did, yeah. I did and I didn't, because, I put it on the shelf as far as being a Gowan record, but when Styx went to make Cyclorama, there were some elements of a few of the songs that I was able to kind of throw into the pot, so to speak, that wound up, emerging as Styx songs on Cyclorama in 2003. And I believe that was the year it came out. And yeah, but those songs still exist, and perhaps I'll revisit them again.
I was on the Gowan.org website, and I was lamenting in the guest book section.
Okay.
I was saying, really happy you were Styx and getting worldwide fame, but the flip side was that as the solo artist, I would never get to see you again and
That is
albums.
that is the sad flip side, or seemed to be.
And that was 2 years ago, and then
Yeah.
within an hour,
Yeah.
I'm on Facebook, I get a friend request from Larry Gowan.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa. And then you sent me like
Sure it wasn't Lawrence Gowan?
It was a Gowan of some kind.
Okay. Of some nature, yeah.
And you sent me some links to these teaser websites where you were trying to tease the re-release of Strange Animal.
Yes, that's correct.
OminousSpiritus.com.
That's correct.
Or something.
That's right. That's right.
And I was like, oh, there's going to be some new stuff coming up.
Yeah.
And so
I like to play around on the internets myself.
there's I think the 25th anniversary of Strange Animal.
Correct.
So that came out in 2010.
Correct.
It was a DVD package, remastered.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, we had, so this year.
This year, yep.
We had the 25th anniversary.
Great Dirty World.
Great Dirty World.
Correct.
Are we going to have every couple of years a 25th anniversary of each record?
Why not? Let's do it. No, I might. I don't know. Honestly, I think that I've been in Styx so long now that they happen to realize that there's some residual benefits to my doing my solo shows as well, because so many Styx fans have come to know Gowan music now and travel and come and see the shows. That's part of why I've booked so many of them in Niagara Falls. It's right on the border. It's a fantastic venue.
It's great for someone who lives in New York.
I know.
But
sorry.
Californian.
I'm sorry. What can I do? I could move the border a little closer, but then we'd have to invade America. We're not ready to take them on. Let's be honest.
America's ready for the Canadian invasion.
Good. So, a lot of fans do travel. A lot of really more devoted fans will fly all the way from California. Yeah. Not ones to whom I've ever given a couple of autographs in 2 different decades, but just casual people who discovered it on the internet and decided to come up. So I invite you to come up there. You won't have to see a scalper. Come and see me personally.
Can we do another interview?
$5 off your ticket.
Amazing.
You heard it. I can't go back on it now.
It'll be on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was really excited when I saw the announcement of some Gowan solo dates.
Good. Obviously not excited enough to go buy yourself a plane ticket, but excited nonetheless.
I was very tempted to do the North Bay show because my sister lives in North Bay.
That was a great night. Great night. That was in April of this year. It was April the 3rd, I do believe. 4th.
You did some strange cities.
4th.
Like you didn't do the big cities. You
didn't do the big ones.
Ontario cities?
Because Falls Zoo, we did 3 nights there. We're about to do 3 nights there with Styx actually next month, just 3 weeks from now. And it's a fantastic venue, and I kind of wanted people to come there, but I needed some warm-up shows, so to speak, but the warm-up shows are just as good. And so we did Belleville, we did Montreal, we're just outside Montreal, and a place called L'Assomption, and we did North Bay. Yeah.
Facebook, you posted a photo of a studio, and you said, here's what I'm recording.
That's correct.
Right now, my next album.
That's right.
So tell me, how's that coming along?
It's coming along tremendously well. Tremendously well. We did a little bit of it in a studio called Dreamland in Woodstock, New York, with Jerry Marotta and Tony Levin. We're about to work a little bit with Todd, drummer from Styx, on it. Some great players already on it. Now that you mentioned the Gasworks, it's a piece of music that originally was done in the Gasworks.
Is this like an old Rhinegold song?
Yes, it is. It's an old, not just a song, it's an entire concept called Dr. Starlight and the Watchmaker. It's the first place I've ever told someone about it. And it's a concept album, rock opera piece that's very, space themed, like a lot of things were in the 70s. But I started revisiting it in around late 2008. I began to kind of bring it up again, and new material began to emerge, and a better way of kind of bringing the story to a completion and to making it relevant to today, but still keeping everything that we did back in the 70s. And so I'm having a ton of fun doing that. And being in Styx is part of what really provoked me to do that. Bass player from the original band, he was the first one that suggested to me several times I should think about this. But when Styx recorded Regeneration Volume 1 and 2, which is where we went and re-recorded a number of the biggest Styx songs, I began to realize I have music still that I've never released that's of this classic rock era. So it's really being recorded as if it were an undiscovered classic rock album from the 70s, which is exactly what it is.
Right.
So that's what we're working on. We're about halfway through.
Oh, wow. So any idea when that's going to be released?
I don't know when it'll be released. I'm actually writing the story out more in long form right now, so that there's more detail if people want to go to that kind of depth in it. And but the music it's just about there. I don't know exactly when it'll be released. I can't say because I haven't decided, where exactly we're going to put it out. Maybe it'll debut right here on the John Wants Answers show.
We'd love to have you back and perform on the show.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you bring your keyboard. We'll jam out to Smelter, and it's going to be fun.
So this is an album that you could release now in the States, perhaps?
It'll be worldwide.
Worldwide.
Because now with iTunes, it's all worldwide, right?
Right.
I mean, all my old stuff is...
Most of them. I looked on the internet. It was like 2 albums.
Oh, 2 are
aren't-
not. Because 2 of them, the deal was with Atlantic. And I don't have the full... I gotta pursue that further. The Lost Brotherhood and You Can Call Me Larry album. But there are a number of songs from those records that are on the Greatest Hits album, which is available on iTunes.
Right.
So I do have to look into getting those other 2 records, though. Thank you.
All right.
For
Well,
giving me more homework.
One last question I have here.
Yep.
I'm going to be on KKUP radio.
No way.
In a few weeks. I'm doing a Canadian pop music.
You're being
show.
on KKUP?
Yeah.
You're on KCUP? I can't wait to see you.
It's the Cupertino station. It started off at Cupertino station. So
Okay.
K-Coop.
Okay.
I'm going to do 90 minutes of all Canadian music.
Beautiful.
What Gowan song would you like me to play?
All of them?
I can only do one. They have rules. I'm going to play all
Rules?
the obscure Canadian hits, Canadian songs that Americans don't know, and
Yeah.
even the artists Americans do know, but not the songs they know.
Play the one that you said that you pointed out to you mentioned to your sister. Play Moonlight Desires.
Moonlight Desires.
Sounds good. And it features John Anderson from Yes. So I know you can't go wrong with that one.
In the video, is he
Yes.
the guy who's? Is
Yes,
he in the video?
John is
He's
the
dressed in white.
John is the high priest
See, I was trying to figure out
of the Mayans.
who that was.
Yeah, and if you look, I'm going to suggest this. If you go to GowanGreatDirtyWorld.com, you'll see a little cartoon that's on with the videos now that gives you kind of a prequel to the video of Moonlight Desires. That's our tour manager. He's determined
trying to throw you out.
Get me ready with the band right now, and I'm going to have to do. I should do that, John.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
My pleasure.
I'm a huge fan.
Great to talk to you.
Honor
and
for me.
nice to meet you again. Obviously, we've met so many times, but you have the photos to prove it.
I have the photos prove it. Yeah.
I have a mug now to prove it, and an autograph.
Yeah.
Picture.
Don't make your bandmates too jealous.
Oh, believe me, they're gonna want to fight over this when we get down there.
I brought you.
Oh, smelter! They melt it down in the smelter. The smelter isn't made for you and me, just for rocks, don't you see? Won't you tell me about the smelter?